Boy, this show started here and it crashed harder than a trip through a French tunnel on August 31st, 1997. I'm John Renton with my review of AEW Dynamite from Austin, Texas, Cedar Park, Texas, whatever. I want to thank Ray Gunn for delivering this shirt, and thanks to CM Punk for being bold enough to wear it on one of the last shows they went to when they were in Texas. I can't wait to wear this shirt and promote the fact that women should have the right to choose, and if you don't fucking agree, get the fuck off my channel. Enough of being on my soapbox. This was definitely a tale of two shows. There was some great shit in the first hour. Even if some of the shit wasn't exactly my cup of tea, the crowd energy was up, and then it just came crashing down and it hurt inside. Whew. Boy, I'm going to have some thoughts. But anyway, I'd love to know what you guys have to say. Did you guys feel that the crowd was electric throughout the whole show? Because it pretty much was, but there were also some moments where the crowd was almost like groaning, like, oh, this is what we're getting. We got this great stuff to begin with, and now we're getting this crap. At its best, it was really great pro wrestling, and then at its worst, it was like some of the worst stuff from Nitro when they would do long talking segments just to fill time. Same with WWE, same as it ever was, same as it ever was. And as the days go by, we're going to talk about Dynamite. So, one, that huge pop for Punk, and man, he is up for this. FTR's theme is great. Dax Harwood is going it alone. He's going to face off against Punk. Terrific pro wrestling match. One of my favorites of the year. This is the kind of shit you could open with, and obviously not Punk and Dax every single week. Even though after 4 weeks or 5 weeks, I don't think that we would get tired of it because they would find different ways to make it good because they're just really good pro wrestlers. But Gun Club's there to jaw jack with FTR for whatever reason. I actually forgot that the Gun Club was even still around, because I don't really keep up on Dark and Elevation much anymore. I watch it here and there, but I don't review it because, well, it's just gotten to the point where it's just insane. And I just seemingly forgot that they existed because after that feud with Sting and Darby, what have they done? There was some nice mat work. Dax cheated. He focused on the back, and Punk kept selling it. And then, there were ass boys chants because we're just going to chant ass boys, what you going to do, what you going to do when ass comes for you. Wait, no, that's not how that goes. The crowd was into it. The big elbow was stopped to thunderous boos. Big superplex, both sold it. Dax tried a diving headbutt earlier, hit the diving headbutt this time. Please don't make that part of your repertoire. Not even the no flips, just fists, but just given what happened to Dynamite, Harley Race, and various others. Busting out occasionally is one thing, and I mean most recently, Bryan Danielson, who did retire for a few years due to that, due to various head injuries. Now he's back being one of the best wrestlers in the world. More on him later. We get a big cross body for two, and then the vice gets locked on. Now Cash is out there at this point because he came out right before the break after his suplex spot over the top, which was actually pretty impressive. Big tumble spot there. The sharpshooter by Dax. And the Vice was on for the win. Good stuff. Great pro wrestling match. Really, really fantastic. Punk won. Indicate he wants the championship. TNT, world title, tag titles. Probably the world title, I'm guessing. And then we go to a pick of Chris Jericho and a young John Silver. It was back when Jericho had less hair and actually had a career, and John Silver had hair. Also, this whole thing of people meeting their heroes, okay, it's nice they can tie that stuff in. I do think that's pretty cool. Like what they did with MJF and Punk, Silver and Jericho, and various others. And the huge jassholes are backstage. This stable is shit. The Jericho Appreciation Society. Jericho got lost on what words he was going to say. And where's Eddie? Where's Santana and Ortiz? Where's your fucking dignity, Chris? Oh, wait, you sold that out years ago when you decided to show yourself as a fucking idiot. But seriously, even as a pro wrestler, yeah, he looks better. He couldn't have really looked any goddamn worse. I don't care about this. So, Sting, Darby, and the Hardys against Private Party, Butcher, and Blade with Andrade, El Olio, Jose, and the Bunny. 8-man tornado tag. They showed remarkable restraint, waiting a full, just over 2 weeks before they did another tornado tag. They had a thing where Sting was 2-0 in tornado tag matches. In AEW, that is. Okay, it wasn't dull, but everybody just went everywhere. Everybody just separated, just battled and did all this stuff. Some people went into the crowd. Matt Hardy got double teamed by Private Party. Jeff Hardy, Sting, and Darby went with Butcher and Blade on into the concessions area and everything. And Butcher and Blade were on tables. Jeff Hardy put a ladder up because, of course, there happens to be a fucking ladder right there. He gets on a little landing and jumps, barely even hits Blade. It was either Butcher or Blade. It was whoever the first one was, barely hits them. Definitely, maybe he gets his legs on the second guy. Jeff, stop. Don't do this anymore. He can't do, unless he's going to get some kind of way to like give his legs more mobility than he's had in the last 5 years. Unless he's going to find a way to maybe get, I don't know, some kind of gene therapy to make his legs younger. He's not going to be able to do this. He nearly landed on his fucking head. Granted, he didn't have anything to spring off of, but if he had done that off the ladder, goddamn, he would have had even less footing, and he would have crashed right there. The match was a mess, but the match was fun. But it was also a mess. We did get a Scorpion and Twist combo, 1, 2, 3. And though Sting, they tried a thing where he was going to stop the gin and juice and then get down, but he just fell. Like, he just fell and collapsed because he doesn't really have a whole lot of strength because he's a 63-year-old man with spinal stenosis. Also had to no-sell a chair. He's Sting-vincible. But yeah, Sting, Darby, and the Hardys win. So this feud is over. Oh no, we're going to work backwards like we had before when we did a 6-man tornado tag, 8-man tornado tag. Now we're going to do a singles match next week. There is such a thing as figuring out shit and actually working forwards instead of working backwards. Not forwards, and always twirling towards freedom. So, there was some fan with a sign that said Vince fears ratings. And I'm not even knocking the fan, but here's the difference. AEW's ratings have stagnated. They have a hard time cracking 1 million now. Now, maybe they will this week, and I hope they do. I hope that they can actually find a way to rise up, but they almost seem like they plateaued. Rampage is a fucking dumpster fire as far as ratings. They maybe get 500, maybe 550 a week on a good week. And Dynamite stuck at roughly 1 million. 1.2 million maybe on their best, but then they go right back down because it's a tale of two products. There's great stuff and wild stuff that you can watch, and then they give you some bullshit like in the second half. And it's frustrating because I want AEW to be great, and it can't be great every week, but it could be better than some of the stuff they've been doing. But yeah, Vince fears ratings. Vince still has big money contracts that he's getting, from USA Network, Fox, and the Cock, and will likely get other big contracts. If AEW doesn't show a little bit of restraint and make sure they don't go way too wild and way too crazy with the blood and all that stuff and everything, who knows? The Warner Media execs and whatever's going on with this merger with, I believe, Discovery, it could be pretty interesting to see what happens. We could get another AOL Time Warner thing with WCW. I hope not, because their contract does run through the end of next year. But anyway, Shivani talks to FTR about the Gun Club. It's just a little respect. And how they're the best tag team in the world. They are. So naturally they don't get featured all that much because the Bucks are little bitches. Wild Thing, you make her heart sing in Cedar Park. You make Cedar Park sing. Boy, ruined that right there. Danielson and Moxley took on the Varsity Blondes with J-U-L-A-A, and an eye patch. Regal joins commentary. Jim Ross, Shivani, Man in the Mask, how the hell are you? He puts over both his guys. He also puts over Brian Pillman Jr., having faced his dad before, even the Griff shows some fire. Obviously, this is going to lead to Julia Hart eventually revealing that she has an eye like Malachi Black and she joins the House of Black. And the reveal is going to be so great. Except, I think the vast majority of people, except those that have been locked into the show every single goddamn week, have probably forgotten why Julia Hart has a goddamn eye patch on. Because it's been a number of weeks. Does that poison take that long to get through? So anyway, Brian is just having a goddamn blast. While Griff and Pillman Jr. do get in some shots, they just glum him, they choke him out, and that's it. There you go. So Moxley puts over Regal, talks about his lordship, says, that him and Brian, their friendship is forged in combat, And if you think you have what it takes to stand by us, well, you're going to have to pay with blood and everything, and you're going to have to pay with broken bones. And we are the Blackpool Combat Club. That's a cool name. It ties back to Regal. And I'm going to say this, Mox, ever since getting, getting through rehab and getting in better shape and everything and getting all that stuff and getting in a better place, my God, look at how night and day. Look at him in October of last year. Look at him now. It's amazing and great for him. And now he can be even happier and healthier and be there for Renee and be there for his kid. And that's great. And he can also have a lot more fun. He seems to be having a lot more fun. So anyway, it was nice to hear from Mox. Yes, it's a typical promo and everything and the violence and whatever, but at least he put over Regal. That was fine. MJF comes out to thunderous boos along with Spears, one of the most boring people there is in pro wrestling. He's fine in the ring, he just shouldn't talk. Unfortunately, they let him talk at the end of this. There's security around ringside, and I did note that MJF had a lot of fake tanner on his hands when he was holding the microphone, and he says, unlike you, Wardlow, I'm a man of my word, or whatever, that I would have let you keep the TNT Championship with their shut the fuck up chance. He beat Punk at Revolution. Punk had to cheat. There will be another match down the road. Don't know where, don't know when. And it will never be over until I'm at your funeral and can piss on your grave. Good. They don't have to do the next match even until, All Out. They can do it then. You'll give it enough time at that point. Hell, Punk could beat Paige, and MJF could beat Punk. And then you find a way to wrap it around, say, in another year. You could do something like that. Why not? At this point, I think they almost need to get the title off of Paige. But some good stuff here. How he took care of Wardlow. He called him a greedy pig. He kept calling him pig. Kept doing a bunch of pig stuff. And that you signed a deal with the devil. And the deals with the devil are ironclad. Some people start chanting Jesus. And he says, I'm going to strap Wardlow to a cross just like Jesus. How about that? Oh, God. MJF has clearly is just, he's a tremendous fucking heel. He's fucking great. I'm not saying every single fucking thing he did was great, but I'm not saying every single thing is a home run is really what I should say, but 95% of the shit MJF does, I pop for, because it's great. He understands how to be a heel. It's fucking great. So, he then basically says, you have that roof over your head thanks to me to protect your mother, and if I see fit, I'll kick that stank mother of yours out of your house, and you will just sit there and you will take it. Here's Wardlow, security, just tries to glom him, there's 10 to 12 people. He's like, you work for MJF, and but MJF doesn't want you here anymore, so I'm going to pay you to sit at home. You're going to rot, and then no one's going to remember you. Okay. The only way they can go is to have Wardlow beat him. Now, that's the only way. Have Wardlow beat MJF to get out of his contract, and then you could have MJF go on and beat Punk. Because Wardlow could be free, MJF could get to the last laugh. I think that they're building this well, but they really need to be careful that they don't make Wardlow look like a fucking idiot here. And I'm not saying here, I'm just saying in general in the feud. And the pinnacle ain't over. Spears should not talk, ever, is what I noted. Shivani is back there with the best friends. Trent doesn't like Wheeler. Wheeler doesn't like Trent. Wheeler says, I'm not trying to be the best friend. I'm trying to be the best wrestler I can be. This was something they actually thought was a good idea to put on programming. Cole versus Lethal in a crowd split match where it's Let's Go Lethal, Adam Cole. It was well wrestled. I also have been given no fucking reason to care about either of these guys. Lethal came in with all the goddamn hype in the world after, the Ring of Honor thing. After Final Battle, I believe is what it was. And at this point, with Tony Khan booking Ring of Honor, they might as well put Lethal back there because, he's 10-2 and he's won a bunch of matches on the YouTube shows. The YouTube shows serve a purpose, but they also, it's a bit lazy to pad a record. But they only run, one show a week. But still, Lethal's pretty much only won matches on the YouTube shows and, a throwaway match on a fucking show, Rampage. So Super Red Dragon shows up, and then we get a low blow, and then we get the boom kick, and that's it. I mean, the match had other moves. I just didn't care. And then Cole wants a world title that he showed up Page last week, and here's Page to take them 3-on-1. He grabs his belt and whips him a few times, and then Jurassic Express, and Cage show up not a moment too late, and this feud's gonna continue. Whatever. I don't care. I'm sorry, but look, Cole's they have not done that well with Cole. Like, oh, sure, now he's being somewhat presented as reasonable, a reasonable contender. I hate to say it, but they already cut the legs out from under him immediately by having Bryan Danielson show up. And then, sure, he got a couple wins, but then he entered that feud with Orange Cassidy. I'm sorry, that was fucking wrestling just crap. That was just, I'm just going to say, I'm going to choose my words carefully here, but it wasn't good. And didn't do anything for Cole, and he lost to a fucking hug. That can be damaging, whether it's unsanctioned or not. So anyway, Cole steals the title also. So Lance Archer is going to beat Dustin Rhodes on Rampage, seemingly. Lambert did say, we have a chance to finally rid this company of the Rhodes family name. More on Lambert a little bit later. Dustin does get one good line, monsters die too. So Shivani is there with Sammy and Ty Conte. He doesn't have the belt, but he will give the ring, he will give everything he has in the ring for you people. What do you mean, you people? Okay. I know that English is a second language for Ty Conte. She got way too fired up here, and it was hard to grasp what she was saying. It just, all I'm going to say is I thought of that MST3K episode of Werewolf whenever she talked, because I wanted like freaking captions, because I'm like, what is, Ty, slow down. But whatever, she's fired up. They want Sky and Paige Van Zandt. Lambert shows up with the Men of the Year and talks about his guys and Van Zandt. And on the other side, we have Tiny Tim and Lucha Curious. That's what he called her. I laughed. I shouldn't have laughed, but I laughed. I admit that Lambert stuff isn't for everybody, and a lot of times it just makes me roll my eyes. But this is also not a very good segment for anybody. He did say, "You can kiss that title goodbye," and he kissed the title, and then Sammy says, "I know we're living rent-free in your head, but if you only knew what Ty and I did with that belt, you would know that we live in your mouth too." They're showing the same spunk that Xavier and Paige did years ago. And that's what it is. Like, let's just call it what it is. This was not a good segment. This was the Cole Lethal match was the start of the downturn. This was just really like, okay, now we just thrown in the towel. Swerve and Starks are going to face each other on Rampage for the FTW title. The title doesn't mean anything. And then Red Velvet lost to Layla Hirsch in a match that was the same as it ever was. It wasn't bad. Red Velvet's exuberant, but she gets too excited and almost falls on her face, and she needs to slow down a bit. Layla is quite good. She does use another hook after the referee takes the first hook away and then gets the victory. Locks on the armbar. And then here's Chris Statlander with a brand new look. Roughly the same hair and a little bit of different makeup. Okay, it's going to be her versus Layla. That's fine. Nice undercard feud is what it is. Jade wants a celebration for her 30-0 record with green Lamborghinis and blackjack and exotic dancer hookers. Okay. Whatever. Rampage is Dustin and Austin, 5-10 versus Red Dragon. Nyla in action. QT gives Hook a certificate. Hook! And Swerve versus Starks. And then next week it's it's Darby versus Andrade with the invincible Sting in the corner. Next week they're going to drop a jet airliner on him and he's going to be fine. And it will literally be a big old jet airliner. And you can't carry it too far away because Sting will just throw it because he's Sting invincible all night and all day. FTR and the Gun Club. And here's Thunder Rosa. She's immediately interrupted by Vicky, who knocks her and says, "Don't try to claim that you're from Texas. You can take your fake green card and do the backstroke back to Mexico." And it was at this point that I wrote down, it's a damn shame that Vicky Guerrero was not in the Benoit household on that fateful day in June of 2007, or otherwise wrestling would be a whole lot better off. Can we take Eddie? Can we just put Vicky in Eddie's place and bring Eddie back? Even if Eddie felt the same way politically, at least Eddie contributed positively to pro wrestling. This isn't good. And here's the thing, Vicky, if it wasn't for green card stuff and for the fact that, people were allowed to come to this country in legal ways and whatever, you wouldn't even be relevant. You would be probably, I don't know, turning tricks on a goddamn... Nah, let's not say that, because nobody would fucking pay for that. You would basically be forgotten about, Vicky, because you are nothing without the Guerrero name. You were given the Guerrero name by marriage. Because Eddie apparently saw something in you that literally nobody else could. Also, she's anti-immigration and pro-wall, so I guess this is pretty shockingly, on the nose, so to speak. Nyla attacks. We're getting Nyla against Thunder Rosa, which would be fine, except Nyla Rose has only been winning matches on Dark and Dark Elevation, which isn't the worst thing, but then she always loses the big matches. So we know Nyla's going to lose here. Not that Nyla should beat Thunder Rosa and immediately end her title reign, but Nyla could be used better. And then Silver and Reynolds took on Jericho and Garcia in the main event. And the Jericho Appreciation Society won, and I don't care. I don't care. Agree, disagree with what I said, like, share, subscribe, Twitter handle in the description. I'm John Rickland. I'll see you soon.